When I met Sem Eu, he struck me as a proud, humble man shattered by the tragedy that is murder. Mr. Eu is the father of miming Lister Yarmby. The 27-year-old was murdered by her ex-boyfriend, Kangth Arn Lee, in Sydney's Inner West 2 years ago. My daughter did nothing wrong, Mr. Eu told me. He killed my daughter, very brutal. I lost my daughter. I lost everything. Mr. Eu's English is broken, but there is no mistaking this honorable man's words. Father Sem Eu wants the sentencing of her daughter's murderer to be reviewed. Current affair, don't know how to say, she's my everything, she's so wonderful, he said. Miming had everything to live for. She was loved by her family and adored by her friends Emily Cheung and Sophie Hudson. It doesn't get easier, but we just try to think of her and how she wouldn't want us to be upset over her, unemotional. Ms. Cheng told me. I was so shocked that anyone could do something so brutal, Ms. Hudson added. It just feels like yesterday, it doesn't feel like 2 years have passed. Lee was arrested as he stood over Miming's naked body on the banks of the Parramatta River. He pleaded guilty. The 27-year-old was murdered by her ex-boyfriend, Kangth Arn Lee, in Sydney's Inner West 2 years ago. A current affair. Miming was loved by her family and adored by her friends Emily Cheung and Sophie Hudson. A current affair in court. Mr. Eu had to endure listening to the brutal details of his daughter's death. Miming's head had been slammed onto a concrete footpath several times. She suffered brain hemorrhages, facial injuries, broken ribs, lip and mouth injuries, suggesting suffocation, and neck bruising, suggesting strangulation. The prosecution described the killing as brutal, frenzied and violent. Oh, she was so wonderful and he killed my daughter brutally, Mr. Eu said. I just want justice. That's all what I want. Lee has a checkered record. The 37-year-old was jailed for conspiring to import heroin and was linked with the Bali 9 drug smuggling ring. In fact, he cooperated with federal police in that investigation. The bad guy is a drug dealer. Before my daughter did nothing wrong, Mr. Eu told me. Lee was arrested as he stood over Miming's naked body on the banks of the Parramatta River. A current affair. Acting Justice Jane Matthews locked Lee up for a minimum 13 years for Miming's murder. While Justice Matthews admitted Miming's family would be shocked by the sentence, she said Lee was devastated, remorseful and suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder as a result of his drug sentence. The offender would clearly benefit from receiving treatment for both his PTSD and his depression, Justice Matthews said. He has excellent prospects of rehabilitation. Mr. Eu was more than shocked. I feel angry and upset. It's unfair, very unfair, he said. They said PTSD, just because of PTSD, I don't think it is a good reason. Now, Miming's family and friends have been dealt another blow while the New South Wales Attorney General recommended an appeal against the 13-year jail term. It's been knocked back by the Director of Public Prosecutions. Her loved ones say they haven't been told why. Miming's family and friends have been dealt another blow while the New South Wales Attorney General recommended an appeal against the 13-year jail term. Current affair. Nothing is ever going to be enough for what he did, Ms. Cheng told me. There's just nothing that can. No sentence is enough. Robert Taylor is the president of the Homicide Victims Support Group. His son was murdered. What's the DPP hiding? He asks. if any of the judiciary would sit back and just consider how they would feel if one of their loved ones, a son, a daughter, a wife or a husband, was murdered by the likes of this young man. How would they feel? Now all Mystery You has our memories. All I want is justice, the fair sentence, that's all I want, he said. This afternoon, a current affair contacted the Director of Public Prosecutions, a spokeswoman providing the below statement. The director met with the family before determining whether to appeal in this matter. There are limitations on the Crown's ability to appeal against a sentence, and as a result Crown appeals against sentence are necessarily rare. After careful consideration, it was determined that there were not reasonable prospects of success on appeal in this matter. The reasons were explained to the family. Copyright 9 Digital Proprietary Limited 2018.